All right. Hey, it is Mike and Mike talking baseball cards. What a surprise. Hey, Mike, how's it going?
I'm doing great, Mike. How are you?
Good. So I started, I think in like July or August, a series of the best sports card collections on YouTube. So
Oh,
just
so who
looking at
who are we going to talk to today then? Let's find.
just you, my friend. So the first episode was Orlando of A Collector's Dream. And now episode two, you, I feel low. Like I feel like Ty in that video with you right now. So now you, and then I also have a couple lined up. It's just been so busy the last couple months, so I appreciate your patience and waiting for this. But yeah, let's talk autographs in particular. But I know you have some other amazing cards you want to show off.
Well, I'm honored that you. There's so many great collections on YouTube, right? And to be even mentioned in the same breath with as having one of those is humbling for sure and awesome.
Yeah, and I've told you this before. I found you not long before the National last year when I think I was either searching for Diamond King's autograph videos because I was just starting to get into them myself. And I found a showcase you had done of yours or something. And I was like, oh man, this guy has, and I go to video two and it's more autographs. And I'm a big autograph guy. And I was like, this guy collects the same stuff I collect. Hall of Fame autographs, right?
Yep, that's my milieu. It's funny how when you find somebody that collect, and I have plenty of people that collect like me too, yourself included, and they're the videos I enjoy the most because I feel a kindred spirit with those people in terms of I get why they got that card. I understand it.
Yeah. So, and you've only been collecting for like 6 months, right?
Yeah, I got in right after the pandemic. I got in, right at the boom. And no, uh, what is it? 42 years now. 1981, I started. I bought packs, my first packs, and my collection started in 1981. 81 Donruss, 81 Fleer, 81 Tops.
So that's you're on the verge of 50. I almost said 60. On the verge of 50, right? Yes,
Yeah, I'll
you are.
be 50 this month.
This month. Happy 50th. A little
Thank you.
early. So that's pretty similar to me. I was 7 when my collection started in 1986, and I didn't have any autographs. I had a Red Sox ball that was stamped with autographs of all the team, and I loved it. I knew it was stamped, but I loved it as a kid.
Right.
But I just wasn't aware that you could just go out and get autographs, or I wasn't aware of TTM until 2020. And I spent a long time being unable to afford cards because I had kids young, I was married, but you kept collecting all the way through.
Well, I think it's yes, but I just think that I certainly had phases of life, stages of life where I wasn't spending very much on cards on any given month. But it was, does do you have what defines a collector? Do you have to be buying stuff constantly to be considered a collector? No, if you have the cards, if you haven't gotten rid of them, you're a collector. It means you
Yeah.
still have them. I could never buy another card again, and I would still consider myself a card collector.
So my cards were sitting in a tub, a plastic tub in my closet for 15 years,
You're still a collector.
thir-
You
13
never
years.
stopped collecting unless you. I would say you're not a collector anymore if you get rid of them and then start over. If you kept them, they were just dormant. You were a dormant collector.
Yeah.
You were in hibernation.
So at what point do you think that your collecting got to where it is today, where you were no longer a dormant collector, but you were hot and heavy for collecting cards?
Okay, so that's a different definition then. I've always been hot and heavy. I'd go to shops, I'd go to shows. It was a financial thing. It was, I couldn't just buy kind of, just whatever. I had to be very careful and selective. And I still enjoyed looking at cards, reading about cards. I would say, though, to more poignantly answer your question, is sometime in the 2010, early 2010s, it was at a point in my life where I had a little more disposable income to spend on cards, and I started growing my Josh Hamilton super collection and really getting some awesome cards there, and getting back into the Hall of Fame autographs, and really starting to expand that and start getting guys that were bigger names, and then into vintage, really hot and heavy. I think everybody's into vintage. Everybody likes vintage. Nobody says I hate vintage. I've never actually heard that from anyone. I think the people that frown at vintage are the ones that can't afford vintage, and so they're like, well, I don't really have a choice, so I'm just going to say I don't like vintage. But we all are enamored with older cards. There's just something about it. There's a mystique about it, right?
Yeah. And you said getting back into Hall of Fame autographs. Was there a time where you were into it and then you got away from them?
Well, it was as a kid, my dad would bring home Hall of Fame autographs from time to time. Working for the Rangers and working in television, he was able to get Harmon Killebrew and Reggie Jackson and Nolan Ryan and Phil Rizzuto and Al Kaline, guys like that, as they would come through on road trips or whatever with different various teams. And so I had some, and I remember going to a Rangers event, their Fan Fest type of an event, and Fergie Jenkins was there, and he would sign anything you wanted for $20. This was in 2010. And I was thinking, God, that seems really cheap. $20 to get a Hall of Fame autograph? Sure. How many others can I get for $20? And I started this kind of like, I'm going to start making a concerted effort to go after these Hall of Fame autographs. And that, of course, started a snowball that went bananas.
And so you've gotten most of your autographs from eBay or shows. Have you done a lot of TTM?
I've done a little TTM. I'd never done TTM probably till similar to when you started it. And I started with Ryan Sandberg, who's kind of one of the most
TTMer.
Yeah, most reliable guys. And I did his whole run of Topps cards, plus a few All-Star cards and a Perez Steel and some other thing. I would send a couple cards off. I'd send a little bit of money. They'd come back. I'd have another one ready to go, so that I didn't want to have multiples there all the time. But I ran through Ryan Sandberg, and then I've done multiple other players, all of which I'm going to knock on glass here. I am 100% on TTMs. I've never not had one come back. So
I've had a couple that didn't come back, and I've had a couple that were rejected by the athlete. Like Joe Carter, for some reason, just sent me back his rookie card, even though I think it says in his SCN $10 per card. He didn't include a note, but he sent back my card and my money. Yeah.
The only one I got back that was bad was Bruce Sutter, and that's because it was out as he died. So that was actually a private signing that I sent off to, and it unfortunately he passed away before he could sign it.
Have you ever had any autographs come back from PSA DNA as questionable authenticity?
Yes, certainly.
Any that you saw them sign in person?
No.
That always baffles me.
Yeah,
like I have sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a subscriber who emailed me recently about a card that he's 100% sure pulled from a pack in 1974 or whatever, and sent it off to SGC, and they said there was evidence of trimming. And I don't know. It's like, I watched this guy sign this. I pulled this card from a pack, but nothing is 100%, as we know.
Well, remember, and I think this is lost on a lot of people. I could sign my name 10 times, and there's going to be subtle differences in each of those. And I actually have two distinct signatures. One's a quick one, and then one's a more, if I'm signing like a formal document, and I kind of write out every letter, and I'm a lot more careful with it. These players, I used to go up to the rails and have players sign cards or ticket stubs or whatever as a kid, and it was just, they're just signing for everybody. So God knows if that would actually pass authentication, even though I actually saw them sign it. It depends on if versus a private signing or the national where they're doing a signing. you're going to get a more consistent autograph in that type of a setting.
Yeah.
So
you haven't shown me any of the cards you're going to show me yet, except for one, Ted Williams. But so why don't you show me your favorite autograph that you pulled out and tell me the story behind why is it your favorite?
Well, that's easy. I don't know if your viewers will know this guy, but
I've never heard of Babe Ruth, huh?
Yeah, Babe Ruth. So this was an auction house purchase 10 years ago, maybe a little longer. And at the time I paid a lot for it. It was, $3,500, which is even today a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a cut, it's on like a piece of paper glued on another piece of paper kind of thing, like it was in an album or something. But it looked so clean to me. And it came with a full letter certificate of authenticity from PSA DNA. So I said, okay, that's awesome. So I contacted PSA. I said, hey, I want this slab. I want to get it encased and slabbed, and I want the autograph graded. And it was, a couple $100 to do that for Ruth. I knew I didn't have to pay for the authenticity again. It had already been authenticated. And a lot of people don't know this, but when they authenticate an autograph, there is some invisible ink somewhere on this item. They stamp each item with some proprietary invisible ink that they use to mark the item as authentic or not authentic. And so I knew I wasn't worried about its authenticity. I wanted the autograph graded because it was so clean, and it came back a Gem Mint 10. And you would say, well, why do you care, Mike? And the answer is that to be in the set registry for Hall of Fame autographs, the autograph also has to be graded. You can't just own it. You have to own it and it be graded. In terms of the autograph grading is, I would call it, incredibly subjective, but it's the placement of the autograph. Does the autograph go off the card and or whatever item it's on? What's the ink consistency look like through the autograph? There's a lot of factors that go into it, but I thought this had a chance to gem, and I knew that would increase the value, because if you're going to buy an autograph, most people would, I'd love a Babe Ruth. I'll pay more for a perfect looking Babe Ruth autograph. Does that make sense?
Yep, absolutely.
So I turned a $3,500 item into, well, even before the boom, it added a couple $1,000s worth of value just getting that numerical grade on the autograph. So it's now a bigger piece even now, but I love it. It's simple, so of course I'd want it on a card or whatever, but beggars can't be choosers with Babe Ruth autographs. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? You just take what you can get.
Do we have a Norman sighting in the room?
It's Claire, actually. She's scratching herself, and it's making her stop it, silly.
So you talk about the values of your cards, and we've talked about this before. And every time I say I don't think about the values of my cards, people say, "Oh, that's such bull. I know you care about the value," and I do care about the values of my cards, but I don't really know. Once I've bought the card, I never think about the value again. I know that I've bought a good card, and at some point when I go to sell, tell me about your philosophy on this.
Almost identical. People ask me, what do you think this is worth? Like they'll sit there, a card they might be interested in. But if I already have it, like, first of all, people think that I'm just this encyclopedia of price, that I'm a walking Beckett or whatever. And then I just have all these prices memorized. And that's certainly not true. I have to look things up just like everybody else, besides the fact that it changes constantly. So even if I did have them all memorized, it would be for that moment in time and then be worthless a day later, so
right.
There's kind of no point. But I have all my stuff, everything that's slabbed, I have in VCP. It's very convenient to just see the values of things on there. But I don't pay attention to it in terms of, because I'm not selling it. If I was going to be selling it, I would be paying attention. But I have no idea once I bought a card what it's worth after that.
Does VCP track autographs and autograph values too?
It does, but it's much less trustworthy because it doesn't take into account if in fact the autograph is graded, or it doesn't, you can put in there, it will use PSA, but it could be BVG, old SGC when they would authenticate, JSA. They don't distinguish those. And there can be a significant value difference. It doesn't take into account the type of item that it's on. Yes, it's there. I would not call it reliable.
Interesting. I haven't found a really reliable service like that yet, but I just met with a guy at a card show recently who's starting up and I guess going to compete in that space. And he showed me the software and I was like, this is exactly what I need. I don't think it's going to show values like VCP does or like market movers or whatever, but it's also not going to be $50 a month, which last I knew market movers was. So
yeah, VCP is not cheap. It's, I think, $180 a year, something like that.
$15 a month. That's not bad.
That's what it is. I love it for values. And literally the only time I look at it is once a year. I go pull my top 50 cards in value, and I have a spreadsheet where I keep every year, and I kind of look at just out of curiosity, what's the change, plus, minus, good, bad, whatever. And then I do a video showing my top 50 cards.
Yeah. I watched that for the first time last year, and there were some cards in there that I was impressed by. And like your number one, why don't you show me your number one card?
You're number one. Well, hopefully I can find it in here. Too many cards to. Oh, here it is. I think everybody has one of these. It's kind of like the 81 Griffey, but it's a Mickey Mantle 51 Bowman in a PSA 5.
Yeah, I've got 3 or 4 somewhere.
Like I said, most people have these. Most I've ever spent on a card by a long shot. Like literally it's 3 or 4x what the amount is I've spent on the next most expensive card in my collection in terms of my money into it.
Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit, because you have a collection that seems like you have an unlimited budget, but I know you don't, obviously. And you've talked about budgeting and having conversations with Julie about, should I buy this card? The price is amazing. What does that look like usually for you when you see a card that you have to have and it's outside of the normal, like, oh, here's a $50 card, I can buy that, no problem?
I think everybody, if you have a significant other, I think it's wise to have some amount that over this amount we need to talk about it, and I think every person's going to have a different amount of what that is. I can pretty much do it. It's going to sound, I don't know how this is going to sound. It's meant to just sound, here's how it is for me, not a bragging or anything like that. But usually if it's a couple thousand or more, I need to talk to Julie about it. Under that, I kind of use my own discretion. And I've not done deals for under that I just, I'm probably not, I don't need to do that right now, or whatever. Because life is expensive besides cards. And so I have to make choices just like everybody does. So what I've tried to do, knowing that, is I'll take lower grades. I'll take, different. I'm not so set on I have to have this card, this grade, or I don't even want to own it. To me, that is just very narrow-minded, and I don't want to be that way with my collecting. I want to be pretty flexible and have some idea of what I want, but at the same time, not be so locked into something that I can't think outside the box. So when it's over that, it's, hey, honey, I have a good example right here. Sam Thompson autograph. If you've never heard of Sam Thompson, I'm not surprised, but
I have not.
Okay. This is a greeting card. It's like a postcard.
I've seen your video. I think you did a video on this.
I did.
In the last year or so, but I hadn't heard of Sam Thompson before that video.
Yeah. So incredibly rare autograph, Hall of Famer. There are now 5 known to exist, 3 of which are owned by people in the community. Myself, Bill, the Hall of Fame collector, and Frank, who is Baseball Hall of Fame autographs. So we own 3 of the 5 that are known to exist. It is incredibly, exceedingly rare. And it is it was $3,000. So that was a conversation with Julie. And I told her, hey, if this is legit, because it was unauthenticated when we bought it, but the story behind it was so good. It was from, the grandniece of the lady who this postcard was written to by Uncle Sam. It says Uncle Sam on it. Her uncle, Sam Thompson. It just made so much sense to me. Like, who would make this up? Like, this is actually so crazy that it's true, that it's got to be true.
Yeah.
Sure enough, bought it raw or unauthenticated, sent it immediately. I contacted my contact at PSA DNA, which when you do as many autographs as I do, it's good to have that kind of person. And so reached out to him. I said, look, I want to mail this to a person. This is such an expensive autograph that I am not going to just send it through the system into the dark abyss. And sure enough, I was able to send it. I got it back in a week, and came back authentic. I had the autograph graded again to be part of my registry, and sure enough, came back a 9. So it's the highest graded example. None of the other 4 are even graded. So I am the proud owner of that. And so that's just a conversation I had with Julie, and told her, hey, I think that if it comes back real and it grades well, it's $3,000. I think it's a $9,000 to $12,000 autograph. So it's my wife needs to, if our wives understand we're literally not just pissing this money away, that there is either some immediate gain if you were going to resell it, and or long-term gain down the road. And that's how you pitch. That's how I pitch it to my wife. And she's usually pretty receptive to that. And a lot of times she will say, do what you think is right, which sounds almost cruel to leave it up to me, but she trusts my instincts and she trusts my judgment. She knows I've been doing this a long time. I passed recently on a DeLong Gehrig when she gave me the okay to buy it. And it was, $8,000, $9,000, whatever it was. I was going to buy it at the National, and I decided not to because it just didn't feel right. So when she says, do what you think is right, that didn't feel right. And not that it wasn't a good deal or that I didn't believe in the long-term value of Lou Gehrig cards. It was just, with other things going on, that's a lot of money to throw down for one card. So I walked away.
Yeah. I mean, I told you before we started recording here, the Ted Williams Leaf that I was ready to buy. And then I was like, nope, don't need to buy this right now. We have plenty of time.
Yeah.
And I remember you said something to me when we first started talking, which was, don't try to compete with other collectors. Collect at your own pace. We're both still relatively young. We have decades of collecting ahead of us. I don't need to rush into the cards that I want just because I want them right now.
Right. And that comes with experience. And, I didn't have the same collection I had 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 30 years ago. And it takes a long time to build a great collection. And that really started, what really solidified that for me was Dr. Beckett, when he was over here and looking at all my stuff. And it's like, just build a great collection for you. Don't build it for anyone else. Don't build it for the money. Just build a great collection that you love. And that resonates with me. That's how I feel. He just articulated it in a great way that I couldn't. So that was well put by him. And I've internalized that and really have for a long time, but it took him saying it for me to really go, okay, who cares when I get it?
Yeah. Well said. You're a big Perez Steel autograph collector.
Yeah.
You have any you want to show right now?
Well,
Favorites?
I'll show you this one. I know you'll love it. I collect all things Dick Perez. So he's been involved in lots of different card sets and everything. So I've got this awesome Jack Morris right there.
Jack Morris. Wonderful.
Your favorite player of all time.
Yep. Good.
There's so many different either Perez Steel or just Dick Perez art in cards. To me, he's certainly the most well known. We all, if you were a child of the 80s, you know what Diamond Kings are. You may not know who Dick Perez is, but you know what Diamond Kings are. And if I told you he's the artist that did those, everybody would go, oh yeah, I love those as a kid, and he did so many different sets. Baseball Hall of Fame Heroes and Donruss 1983. He did obviously Perez Steel Hall of Fame postcards, and there's the Celebration postcard set. Great Moments bigger like cabinet cards, T3s looking cards. There's so many different things that are Dick Perez, and I'm just trying to get all of them. That's all. Doesn't seem like too monumental of a task, but there are definitely some challenges within that'll be very expensive if I want to obtain them down the road.
And you're pretty far along.
I am.
And not only just Donruss Diamond Kings, but all the other Perez Steel art, all of them. You're at 90% through?
Yeah, I track all that. I track everything in my collection on a spreadsheet. And I'm also, you haven't been here, but whenever you come over here, if you've heard other people, I am insanely well organized. And it's because the breadth and all the different projects and all of that, if I don't stay organized, it would turn into absolute chaos. It would devolve to that very quickly. And I would be, I don't know what I have, and I'd be buying things multiple times, and I'd be pissing away money and pissing myself off when I could have been just looking for things that I need. So in total, there are 473 cards and postcards that Dick Perez has contributed art to that picture a Hall of Famer. I have 363 of those. So I'm actually not at 90. I'm at 76% of those, but that's of everything.
Mm-hmm.
On the Celebration set, I need one. Jocko Conlon, who died shortly after the set came out. There are only a few known copies that he actually signed. On the Hall of Fame postcards, I'm missing like 6, of which Satchel Paige, Kirby Puckett. I mean, these are all the low-hanging fruit has been obtained. So the ones I need are the either really expensive and or really rare ones. And that's slowed down quite a bit recently over the last year or so.
I'm mostly doing the pack pulled. So the Donruss pack pulled Hall of Famers. So Diamond Kings, Hall of Fame Heroes, those ones. I think I'm at 22%.
Okay. That's solid.
The last 78% is difficult.
Well, this is pack pulled. This is from Donruss Triple Play. So you got to go get a Jack Morris now.
Gallery of Stars. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't have a single Jack Morris autograph.
Oh, well, I'll just put this in the mail to you today.
Great. Thanks. I do want them because I want to get all the Hall of Famers. So it's
and much to your chagrin, he is in the Hall of Fame.
I'm happy for him. I don't think he should be in, but I'm happy for him.
That would be a long list for me of players who should not be in the Hall of Fame. But
your number one?
Who's my number one that's in that shouldn't be in?
Harold Baines.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Without question.
I get a comment every time I mention, or anybody on my channel mentions that Harold Baines shouldn't be in. I have the same guy who comments, here we go, hating on Harold Baines again. I'm not hating on Harold Baines or Jack Morris. They both had fantastic careers.
Hall of Fame worthy?
No.
Debatable, apparently.
Yeah. And I don't want to devolve this into a Hall of Fame conversation because I want to talk about your collection. But I just think that you can appreciate a guy's career and think he's not quite a Hall of Famer, and that's fine.
I would say the same about Scott Rowland.
Yep.
But I would say Fred McGriff should have been in a long time ago.
Agreed.
So it can go both ways, right? And having this devolve into a Hall of Fame discussion is discussing my collection because that's what I collect. My most ambitious and probably stupidest project is the 4 decade set. You've heard me mention it on videos, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It is trying to get every card picturing a Hall of Famer from 1950 Bowman to 1989 Topps, hence the name 4 decades, all the 50s, all the 60s, 70s, and 80s. It is all slabbed, by the way.
By PSA.
By PS, well, I've kind of I've bent a little bit on that. I've got several SGC slabs now, but that is a project that's 2,460 cards big. That I have 88% already done.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. That is a project that I will not be following you into.
That's smart. Very smart by you. But
you don't have. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
You don't have the 52 tops mantle though, right?
Do not. That'll be the last. I've made that my goal. That'll be the last card I buy. By then it'll be, $1.2 million for an authentic run over by a truck. Who knows? But it's you need to have lifelong. I think you need to have long-term projects that you care about, because it keeps it fun. I mean, I'll look at my list and I'll be like, oh, let's go look at any of them in 71 that I still need. Let's go just hunt for those today, and I can always go to 88 and 53 or whatever. I never get bored looking for cards because I have so many different things to look for.
Yeah. You have a 53 satchel. I love the 53. The look of that set is amazing.
53, best year of cards overall, period, between Bowman Color and Tops. Like if you combine them together. Oh, it's right here. So this is a card I bought way before, many years ago. You can tell by the flip. It's a PSA 5. I could never afford a PSA 5 today, but back in the day, milk was a nickel. It was, this was a couple $100 card. Now
imagine if you had saved a cup of milk from back then. How much would that be worth now?
Right, it would be way more than a nickel.
Yeah,
but I'm able to get cards like that just because of how long I've owned them.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that when I look back on my collection in 10 or 15 years, that I think I would never be able to afford this now.
I can say that a lot.
Yeah,
a lot. And it's a good feeling. Again, not because I'm planning on selling the satchel, but man, I'm glad I got it when I did. And I always say that today's high prices are tomorrow's discounts. If you think a card is priced high today, wait 3 or 4 years, and I promise you it'll be more. Yeah. So why not buy it now? If you can afford it and it makes sense and all of that, right?
Yeah.
I realize all the cards I'm saying no to, I'm going to have to pay more for later. Know it, accept it, kind of is what it is.
Show me a couple of other big autographs and tell me the stories behind them.
Okay. Well, got this guy.
How much time do we have? I should have asked you beforehand.
I don't know. However much time you have.
Perfect. Jackie Robinson. Okay. That's not bad. He was okay.
Not bad. So this is a government postcard. GPC is the everything has a, acronym for it. Government postcard. This I bought at the 2014 National. And I remember it distinctly because my wife was there with me. And this was the first autograph that I had spent. The Ruth I'd already owned. It was a big autograph. And the dealer had $12.50 on it, maybe back in 2014. So we're talking almost 10 years ago. That was in Cleveland. So hey, next year will be in Cleveland. 10th year anniversary of me owning this card. I should bring it back and take a picture where it, hey, it's our anniversary, Jackie. Yay. We're revisiting the place where I acquired you. So $12.50 was his price. I said, no, I'll do 1,000. And he said, no, I can't do that. And I walked away. And I distinctly remember because I'd walked away pretty far. And I see this guy chasing after me. And he says, okay, I'll do it. And so I went back and paid the $1,000. And it would have been a great deal at $12.50, right? Today's high prices are tomorrow's discounts. Don't forget that. And so I was able to buy this. What makes this autograph even better, what I love about government postcards, is the back will typically have a postmark.
Yeah.
And so as much as Claire, she thinks that's cool too. But so the postmark This is from August 26, 1955. What's special about the Dodgers in 1955?
They won the World Series.
They did. It was their only World Series that they won. They beat the Yankees. This is August 26th. They're in the heat of the pennant race, right?
Right. Yeah.
Jackie went 1 for 3 that day. So it's cool to imagine when did he do it? Before the game, after the game, the day before, and mailed it that day. Just thinking through that with a government postcard is it just adds more to the autograph.
Yeah.
To think this was a world championship year signature from Jackie Robinson makes it just cooler to me. I don't know how much premium someone would pay for that, if they wanted to buy it, if they would even care. Maybe not, but I sure think it's cool,
So do you ever look at that or your Babe Ruth autograph and say, man, this has shot up so much in value in the last 5 years. I should sell it and fund something else in my collection? Or is it permanently in your collection now?
That is the constant, I think, dilemma for every collector, right? If I would have taken that mantle, sold it at the height of the pandemic, I could now buy 3 of them.
Yeah.
In the same grade and have plenty of money left over. You know what I mean? It's like we all can go back and have these shoulda, woulda, coulda things. I know that if I ever sold the Ruth, I'd never own one again. Most likely. Because I don't want to trade down. I have a Gem Mint 10. Why would I settle for something less than that? Upgrading is much more fun than downgrading in your collection. The Sam Thompson, I've actually even recently considered selling it because of its rarity, because of the value, because I do understand I'll never own every Hall of Famer. That's impossible. And therefore, then people would ask maybe, why would you even go after it if you know it's an unobtainable goal? Because collectors are consistent on a few things. We all have some form of OCD, and we all have some form of and that can take the form of how we organize our collection. The completionist, I got to complete it, right? And to know that I can't complete a Hall of Famer autograph collection is, I don't know if I'd use the word frustrating, but it's I guess I just accept it. So Sam Thompson's one of those guys that's so rare. I could take that and probably not fund another card, but kind of take some of that money and maybe buy some other cool stuff, or at least kind of pay myself back the $3,000 that I have into it, and then give the money, let Julie use it for a project at the house or something, make that card turn into something that she wants to do or whatever. But she actually talked me out of it. She said, will you ever own it again? And I said, no, of course not. There's only 5 of them. I'm like, I'll never. She's like, we don't need the money. I mean, it'd be great to have some extra money to do stuff, but we're good and enjoy it. Down the road, if we need it, we'll have that to sell, kind of. That's her attitude. And so super supportive, super maybe enabling almost, I don't know, but she's great about it, because I really genuinely was considering selling it, and I'm glad I didn't, but I would tomorrow if I needed to. I wouldn't begrudge that or regret it. So I don't know if I answered your question or not. I kind of went around a little bit there.
I think you did. Great answer.
Okay.
Do you have any other autographs?
I don't know. Heard of him?
He was, famously never won a Cy Young Award.
Yeah, he didn't. That's true. This is just an index card, not a government, nothing on the back. But I love the big, bold, stuff like that. I like multi-sign pieces too. There's a lot of collectors out there that don't. They want a single sign piece, whether it's a baseball or a card or whatever. I like the story that a multi-sign piece tells, and that how did this get done? I have tons of Hall of Fame programs that are signed, cover to cover with Hall of Famers, and books that are signed by multiple Hall of Famers, and magazines and stuff. This is probably one of my favorites. This is a New York Yankees multi-sign.
Let me see if I can figure this out.
Okay.
You got Gehrig.
Yep.
I can't read.
There's someone on there that's
Tony
even harder.
Lazzari.
Tony Lazzari. He's harder than Gehrig signed a lot relative to Tony Lazzari. George Selkirk is on here. Ben Chapman and Frank Crosetti.
Okay.
So then you go, okay, well, when did all those guys play for the Yankees? Right. And then you can, because there's nothing on the back. So how do you, and the slab just says New York Yankees, you know, it doesn't say a year or anything like that. And honestly, it's kind of weird that I don't remember this, but I want to say it's 26, 27. Like it might be a Murderer's Row type piece from that era, but I'd have to go back and like do my homework again. I've done it at some point in the past. I simply
did it sometime in the past. Oh,
yeah,
there he is.
Phone rang. I didn't put it on Do Not Disturb. So just pieces like that, to think a massive amount of effort, say on a Hall of Fame program, that somebody went through to make that happen, and I don't have to do it. And when 90% of the guys on it are dead, it's like I couldn't replicate this even if I wanted to. I found those things intriguing, and I love getting stuff like that.
Very cool. What else?
Autograph wise, I don't have any big autographs here. Some other cool cards. I don't know.
Show me your Teds. Okay. Yeah. I was going to ask if you had the 51 Mays or 52. I think you have the 52 too, right?
I have the 52 Bowman.
Okay.
Hey, Mike, if you ever want to see my Willie, you just let me know. I will whip it out for you, as the kids say.
Thank you.
Is this a family show?
It is, but it's innuendo is good.
I do love, Hall of Fame rookies. There's a Aaron.
Yeah. So that's the type of card I would love to have, and that too, Clemente rookie.
Yeah.
But I would love to have the card. I will never have them autographed, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, totally. I'll never have it autographed either. Little 35 Gowdy 4-1 Ruth. Believe it or not, this is a very expensive card. Bryce Harper rookie.
Yeah, that's I can't see the top. Top's Heritage. Okay. Interesting.
Why might this be expensive?
You've told this story on a video one time. I don't remember. Tell me again.
The quick version is this is 2020 or 2012 Heritage high number. It was a online only set done by Topps. They were only going to print 1,000 of them. I don't know if they sold out, but I bought one back in 2012, and I had a buddy over here, and we were just it was the box set, it's in a box set. He's like, hey, if that Harper's in there, it's pretty rare. And I said, okay, let's look at it. And it looked really good. And so we sent it off to get graded. It came back at 10, and it's like a pop 35 or something. Like there's very few of them out there. It's one of those I probably would say I would sell it now because I like Harper. I'd rather have his base Topps rookie, if I'm being honest, and so the modern guys, I just want a rookie card. I want a DeGrom. I want I have a Trout, that kind of stuff. Teds. I got a Ted here, 40 play ball. One of my favorite pre-war sets actually is 40 play ball.
I have a Melot right here behind me. Whoops.
I actually like it better than the 41 play ball, although most people think I'm crazy to say that. I vehemently disagree, but that's okay.
Yeah.
This I bought raw and graded myself.
What was the grade on that?
It's a 3.5.
Yeah.
I love half grades, by the way.
I was just gonna say, I wish PSA would do half grades more. SGC does them more. I think the half grade tells a story in itself.
Yeah.
I
love that stuff. Usual 48 Bowman. But these aren't like, here's a Jackie 50, a 2.5, bought this raw, graded it myself. Like, you don't have to buy 6s, 7s, 8s. Like, we would all want them, but constraints are whatever they are for you. My Satch rookie is right here, and it's a 3, but I bought one that's miscut, so I could afford it. You know,
That's awesome.
Registration is my most important attribute for a vintage card.
Centering for me,
and I get it, but I like nicely centered cards too. But miscut cards need a home as well. They need love. So, yeah.
In the last few minutes here, you mentioned modern. You want to have tops. Does it matter to you if it's a rare tops? Is it some like variation that you want? Does it have to be autographed?
I want the base flagship card. Period. Paragraph.
In ultra modern, we're talking dollar cards now for guys. Obviously, Trout's rookie is significantly more. That's a target of mine for this winter as prices come down more. His rookie has plummeted in value, which is great for me because I really want one. I'm actually now at a point where I'm thinking I could get a 9 this winter, which was out of reach 6 months ago.
Sure. And I don't care. I wish, the whole, man, I should have sold my Trout 10 whenever it was much, much more expensive, but I can't go back and fix that now.
Yeah. Any guys playing today that you kind of super collect? You see a card of theirs and you got to have it?
No, not super collect, as my dogs go nuts. I think the mailman is here, but they're going to go attack the mailman. You want to give me a second? You can talk about my collection or something while I go shut them up.
Sure, that's fine.
I'm going to mute this.
Yeah.
And
So for me, ultra modern guys, I super collect. And I don't super collect anybody really, but Rafael Devers. And I've just started doing a lot of Tristan Casas in-person autographs and some on-card pack pulled autographs. But I'm getting like $8 in-person autographs on Tristan Casas from eBay. He's back. Hey.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Worst gift you've ever had.
Any guys you buy more of that are playing today? You mentioned DeGrom.
I'm a big believer in Soto.
Me too.
And you can look at what he's doing this year, even with the Padres having a bad year. I mean, he's still putting up insanely good numbers. And I think his on-base percentage is just nuts, right? And I really like that in a player, plate discipline, all that kind of stuff.
Well, it speaks to longevity. He's going to last a long time because he has such a good eye at the plate.
So him, of course, Acuna. I just I bought an Acuna autograph literally today. So I'll get that later this week because I think he's going to win MVP. Yep. That's another little side project, is trying to get an autograph of every person that's won an MVP award, as well as Cy Young Award winners, whether they're Hall of Famers or not. I try to get them just because I just think it's cool. Let's see.
When you look up Soto's home road splits this year.
Are they good or crazy?
His road numbers are amazing. His home numbers are in the tank.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But, I think there's a lot of players now that are going to be Hall of Famers, and it's mainly pitchers. You got Greinke, who's probably going to retire now, would be my guess. Verlander, Scherzer, Kershaw. We're in this weird period where you've got a lot of pitchers that I think they've already stamped their spot in Cooperstown, and we get to watch them. That's pretty cool. And not Scherzer right now. DeGrom still got more work to do. As good as he is, as crazy as his stuff is, he needs a few more years of some counting stats to I think secure his spot. He's borderline right now. And I always try to prospect Hall of Famers, if that makes any sense. I try to think about who might the Veterans Committee get in, because I learned the lesson from Gil Hodges where I didn't do that. God, Gil Hodges is never going to get in. And then he does. And I'm like, crap, now I'm scrambling to get his cards, get his autograph, and it ends up costing a lot more, the Hall of Fame tax, right? So
yep.
I don't want to pay the Hall of Fame tax. I'd rather be in front of the Hall of Fame tax.
Yeah, I've started buying guys. So if you're at like a WAR of 25, and I know WAR is not a perfect stat, I don't use it as my only stat, but if you're at like 25 WAR by the time you're 25 years old, it's a really strong indicator that you are Hall of Fame bound, that there's a strong likelihood. And you've got Soto, Acuna, and Shohei. And so I've been buying a fair amount of their rookie cards because, well, with Shohei, it's hard because even his rookies are really expensive, but I have a few of them.
Well, there's plenty to choose from. Like they're everywhere, right?
Yeah. Soto, I just brought up his batting splits. So on the road, 307 batting average, 422 on base, slugging 604. So his OPS was 1.026. His home OPS was exactly 200 points lower. Yeah. 827.
That's significant. That's statistically significant, as the kids say.
Yes, that's true. Well, any last cards you want to show? Any last thoughts you want to share? Stories, anything?
No, again, it's a marathon, not a sprint for everybody out there. And it's taken me a long, long time to get here. And everybody, it feels like people getting in the hobby want to have these amazing collections yesterday. And you look at guys like those back pages and Dave Blue Jacket 66 or John Mangini or any of these other collections that you might one day feature on this series. Orlando, none of us did it overnight. None of us hit the lottery. None of us are independently wealthy. We're all just dudes that slowly, by card after card, accumulate slowly, build a great collection. That's the mantra you should take away from hearing from all of us. It's the same story, that you'll hear again and again.
Yep. Well, you already nominated Frank of Baseball Hall of Fame autographs.
Did.
And he has agreed to come on. So
nice.
I'm hoping this month, October, I'll have him on for another entry in this series. And I have
you will love it.
Others
you will love his stuff.
Yeah.
Look, my dogs are going nuts down here. You're gonna, like, what are they doing? They're just, I don't know. They don't know their dad's trying to work here and do some taping.
All right. All right, Mike. Thank you. I hope everybody enjoyed this, learned something about you, and appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate it, man.
All right. Thanks, Mike. See
you
everybody.
guys.